Frightmare Compound is Denver's oldest haunted house, established back in 1983 by my dad, Brad Holden. I couldn't tell you why he started it, but he was a crazy entrepreneur, hustler, and he had a wild idea to start a haunted house. Nobody had ever done any haunted houses in Colorado before. It was first of its kind, and all of his friends really were making fun of him. Like, why would you want to do a haunted house? But everybody stuck with him, and he ended up going real estate shopping. Found a little plot of ground up in Westminster, Colorado, and there's this old farm swampland, and him and my mom ended up buying the property, and they started building right away. It was a labor of love for him. He actually moved a crazy old 1800s barn onto the property, and he opened within 6 months. I think he moved that barn on the summer before the October in 1983. I was born in 85. And every October, that's what we did. Growing up in a haunted house was definitely a little bit different than your average kid. People would get toys and stuff in the mail. We'd get delivered coffins and bodies and props and crazy stuff from all these haunted house builders and prop makers. I've never known an October without a haunted house. Trick-or-treating was not something we did. No, we didn't get to trick-or-treat a whole lot. October is a busy time of year for me. Man, first job at the compound was, I remember I wanted to be a monster so bad, and my mom didn't want me to be anywhere close to all the crazy patrons and customers coming through. So my dad ended up building a scene that I was set back about 10 feet off the path, and he built this crazy huge scarecrow that would actually fall onto the groups, and then I'd pull it back up, reset, and wait for the next group. It was probably the most boring job ever, but absolutely loved it. It was one of those things that that I've wanted to do forever. Dad would come out with friends, and they would literally just make stuff up to build. They'd have a crazy idea. Hey, you want to build a water wheel this year? Do you want to build a mine shaft? And they would go off and buy supplies and start building. It was really getting together and doing what they love to do, building movie sets and Hollywood-style props. Frightmare is not one of the pop-up haunted houses. It's one that's permanent. It's something that we don't have to take down ever, which gives us a huge advantage on other haunted houses, just because we're building on the last 35 years of building as well. So instead of tearing down every year, we get to actually come in, critique, change, build more, and make it bigger and better. So my dad's opened the doors to Frightmare in 1983, and him and the family really built, for the next 15, 16 years until he actually fell ill to cancer in 1998 and ended up passing away in 99. And the family really stepped in, friends really stepped in to help run the compound until I was old enough to take over. It's definitely not a 9-to-5 job. It is 3 months of 18-hour days nonstop. You drink a lot of coffee and a lot of energy drinks, but it's a labor of love. Like I said, it's not something that you wake up and think, hey, I'm going to work. It's something where it's exciting to go out and build props and try new things and experience different scenarios and build people's fears. No, this is definitely my lifestyle. I live, breathe, eat, sleep, haunted house stuff. I live on the property, and this is something that I do year-round and absolutely love it. It's definitely a passion of mine to run this compound and really push forward my dad's legacy. It's so cool to see all these stories and all these people actually coming back year after year. We actually have grandparents bringing their grandchildren because they came out in high school.
We come here all the time. We live down the street. It's an awesome attraction. We come here all the time, every year.
5 stars.
5 stars.
So it's really cool to see the legacy live on, and the community that we grew up in keep coming back year after year.
It was amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah, haunted houses nowadays, it takes a lot more to scare people than back in the 80s when they started. More than ketchup and sheets to really scare people. And we've really make sure that we raise the bar every year, making sure that this legacy stays alive. Everything, you name it, we do it out here. We've got everything from moving floors to flamethrowers to mine shafts Last year we even wrecked an old plane out here in our cemetery. We actually have a full crew that works year-round on the compound, whether it's maintaining the property or building new sets or just tweaking little things here and there. You know, in all the years growing up, I've always watched my dad really be a trendsetter in the industry, where building bigger and better props, making sure that we were number one, you know, traveling around the US to see what other guys were doing. And so I've really taken that upon myself too, to do the same thing. I've traveled around the world to go through haunted houses and crazy attractions to make sure that I'm raising the bar here in the US, to make sure that we're pushing the limits on everything with building props, with everything from lighting, sound, and special effects, being the trendsetters here in the US. You know, the last 35 years have taught us so much in the industry, and I'm just super excited to see where the next 20 years goes. We have so much more to come. We've got crazy props coming out this year, crazy scenes. We're super excited for the 35th anniversary. This year's definitely going to be bigger and better than ever. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Behind the Screams of the Frightmare Compound, Denver's world famous haunted house. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you guys want to watch more of behind the scenes, or in this case, behind the screams of a haunted house.